Joining me now with more on this devastating tornado is meteorologist Steve Bowen. Steve, we've just been describing tornado season, and can you explain why this particular twister was so large?
Well, with any large tornadoes, it's really there's a couple of things that come into play. Typically, the large tornadoes can either be one singular vortex, or we can see a multi-vortex tornado, which essentially means you get little mini tornadoes kind of spinning around each other. And with these tornadoes, when they're so large that generally they're kind of disguised by the debris, and particularly with this tornado and most recently the Joplin tornado, the tornado was just so large and there was so much debris. And when the warnings came out, and what was so devastating about Joplin, and maybe this one as well, is that when the warnings came out and residents, they looked in the direction where the warning was indicating the tornado was coming, and all they could see was dark because the base of the tornado was so wide that they thought it was just rain. And in Joplin, that was probably the biggest cause of the damage, that people were and fatalities, that they were warned. But when they looked and there's just so much debris, and you look and it's just so much utter destruction from these very large tornadoes, that it really ups the severity.
Steve, the past year or so, we've been hearing the term superstorm, and the huge storms are now our new normal. Did forecasters have any idea that this particular storm would be so massive? And do you think that there was enough warning for those folks there in Oklahoma?
You know, this particular storm system was initially forecast by the Weather Service actually early last week, because Saturday was when this event actually started, and it's just kind of progressively, made its way very slowly to the east. And in terms of the warning time, the Weather Service was sending out a lot of tweets. They were sending out the warnings, 16 minutes, I believe, ahead of time before the tornado actually struck. But when you get tornadoes that are just this massive, and 16 minutes, now it may not sound like a lot, but really that's a pretty decent amount of time. But when tornadoes are just this big, that really there's not much you can do if you can't get out that quickly, because you see really well-built structures, and they're just really no match for these types of tornadoes, especially when they get to the upper echelon. They get the EF4 or EF5, and any little thing, even a little rock, just becomes basically a missile and can penetrate anything. So in terms of the lead time, I think the Weather Service has gotten much better as technology has increased over time. But like I said, once you get tornadoes that are really this size, there's only so much you can do.
And what is the latest weather-wise for this region? Could it see even more storms or severe weather in the coming hours, coming days, as this rescue operation gets underway? Could we potentially see another storm like this?
Well, I think Oklahoma City should be out of the woods for now. The system has begun to slowly shift its way towards the east. Amazingly, we're going to be looking at a fourth day tomorrow, as this very broad system, which is currently stretched from the upper, the northern Great Lakes all the way down into portions of Texas. So I think the greater Oklahoma City region is okay for now, but the focus will again shift slightly to the east tomorrow, maybe eastern parts of Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas. Those are going to be probably the next areas for tomorrow to take a look at. But the severe weather threat is ongoing tonight. As we speak, there are a number of tornado warnings that are currently in effect, even as far north as portions of central and southern Illinois.
All right, meteorologist Steve Bowen, we appreciate your time and your insight. Thanks for joining us.